For generations, we were all told the path to financial security was pretty simple, right? But what if that well-worn path now leads you straight off a cliff? Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea that in our crazy, fast-changing world, playing it safe is actually become the new risky. And we're going to unpack exactly what that means for you.
I mean, this was the promise, wasn't it? This was probably what your parents told you and what their parents told them was a blueprint for a good, stable life. Get that diploma, land the nice corporate gig, and you were golden. It was supposed to be the ultimate security blanket.
Yeah, about that. It turns out that advice, as well-intentioned as it was, might just be the riskiest advice you could possibly follow today.
Think about it. A job at a company like General Motors, that was the absolute gold standard of stability. That was the dream. But fast forward to today, and GM has laid off more people than any other company in history. So that whole idea that a big corporation has your back for life, it's been completely shattered. That old promise is broken.
Okay, so the big question is why? How did this happen? Well, it's because there are these massive, unstoppable forces that are just completely changing the entire economic game. And some of the examples, they're pretty wild.
Get this. In Thailand, they literally train monkeys to scamper up trees and harvest coconuts. I'm not making this up. Now, it's a little bizarre for sure, but it's a perfect example of how even the simplest jobs can get outsourced in ways you would never, ever imagine. I mean, if a monkey can do that job for pennies, it really makes you wonder, what jobs are next?
And how about this? Not that long ago, the idea of cloning your pet was straight out of a sci-fi movie. Now, it's a real thing you can do. And look, the point here isn't about whether it's right or wrong, it's about the staggering speed of scientific progress. What seems completely impossible today could be totally normal tomorrow.
Okay, and this one really brings it home. Do you remember video stores, going to Blockbuster on a Friday night? Or how about calling a travel agent to book a flight? These entire industries and all the jobs that went with them, they didn't just shrink. They were basically wiped off the map by disruptive tech like streaming services and online booking sites. Those jobs are gone forever.
And this is the new, kind of brutal reality. It used to be a badge of honor, right? I've been with the company for 30 years. Today, that can actually make you a huge liability. Why? It's simple, really. You have a higher salary, more vacation time, better benefits, all compared to the new college grad who can do your job for half the price. Seniority isn't a shield anymore. It can be a target.
So if the old system is totally broken, what are you supposed to do? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in how you think. It's about taking 100% responsibility for your own prosperity, no matter what the news is screaming about the economy.
This is the mantra. And look, it's not about sticking your head in the sand and pretending reality doesn't exist. It's about refusing to let those big, external circumstances decide your financial destiny. You have the power to create your own economic microclimate. And here's the crazy part. The biggest challenges almost always create the biggest opportunities. I mean, the Great Depression actually minted a whole new class of millionaires. Or think about the more recent housing crisis. Some people bought up foreclosed homes for pennies on the dollar, creating massive wealth while, in many cases, helping families stay in their homes. It was a total win-win born directly out of a crisis.
The absolute key to all of this comes down to one word: leverage. See, just trading your time for money, well, there's a hard ceiling on that, right? There are only so many hours in a day. Real wealth gets created when you build a system that works for you, earning from the efforts of many, not just your own sweat. Think of it like a musician who writes a song one time but gets paid every single time it's downloaded for years to come. That's leverage.
So, how can you actually use this idea of leverage in the real world? Well, according to author Gage, there are 3 primary business models that are perfectly designed for this new economy. Okay, so here they are. First, you've got the information entrepreneur. This is all about packaging your knowledge into digital things like online courses or ebooks, using technology to sell your expertise to thousands of people. Second, there's real estate, where the leverage comes from using other people's money, the banks, to control appreciating assets. And third, the one we'll focus on, is network marketing. Gage argues this is the most accessible for the average person, mostly because it requires very little startup capital.
So why does Gage highlight this model so much? He argues it allows someone, even without a lot of money, connections, or experience, to build a system that creates real, consistent cash flow. But, and this is a huge but, he stresses that there's a massive difference between doing it wrong and doing it right.
He breaks it down into 2 paths. On one side, you have the grinder. This person is all about selling products.
They try to be the superhero of their own little team, doing all the work themselves, and they end up earning very little long-term residual income. But then you have the rockstar. This person focuses on teaching people and building a duplicable system. They create a culture of leadership, and that is how they earn true passive, leveraged income.
This right here is the core insight. The goal isn't to become some amazing super salesperson. The goal is to find people who are coachable and then just plug them into a simple step-by-step system that anyone can follow. The system does the heavy lifting, not you.
And what's the result of applying this Rockstar System? Well, according to Gage, by sponsoring just a few people a month and teaching them this duplicable system, he built a global team of 200,000 people. He states he makes massive passive income, his ultimate example of leveraging action.
So, we're left with this. The safe path of the past is gone. Technology and global forces have completely changed the rules of the game. The new model requires you to be the architect of your own prosperity. So the only question left is, will you take charge of yours?